I started recording on my end too.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try to get as many front end and as many back ends deployed in this class as possible. For the folks that have the front end, I'm going to do something a little different. For the folks that have the front end, I want you to try to get your domains set up with your front end. And I'm going to give you the slides and turn you loose. What I want for the folks that have the front end, so I'm talking to Joe. I think Austin is out tonight. I'm talking to Desiree, Tiffany. I'm going to turn you loose on the slides. Here's the thing I want you to keep in mind. The slides should help you walk through, but they're not perfect. And a lot of this is going to rely on some of your knowledge from back in week 6, where we logged into Namecheap, went to the DNS, and we set some records. It's the same process again, where you're going to set up Namecheap and then wire it up with Netlify. The tricky part here is the Netlify side. We haven't talked much about the Netlify part, and you kind of have to work through the Netlify steps in order to get the domains going. So I'm going to turn you loose on that, and then I'm going to start digging into the backends with the rest of the class. To get the folks with the domains started, let me find you the exact link to the slides. Here we go. So for folks that are going to be working on the domains, here's the link to the slides where you start wiring up the domains. It starts around slide 58. And I sent that link in the Zoom chat. So dig in, do your best to see if you could get your domains set up. I know that you can. I know you could figure it out. If you can't, feel free to ask some questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start poking some folks and trying to get more backends and more front ends deployed. Sound good? Awesome. All right, I'm going to pick on Anwar is not here. Monty is not here. Safi is not here. Terry, I'm gonna talk to you in a second. Shadia, I was just talking to. Maybe she's gonna be a little bit late. And Deandra is not here. Okay, maybe this is gonna be a lot quicker than I thought. Terry. Terry, I'm gonna please hold a sec. I'm gonna see if I can figure something out with Max really quick. He is offline. Just changing the alias and CNAME. So you're talking about the domain that you already had that had alias and CNAME records up? Wipe them. Wipe them completely on the Namecheap side and input the new ones from Netlify.
All right, I'm just pointing to the front end link, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Do I need to do anything on the Netlify side to accept?
You do. So the way that it's going to work for the front end is actually here in a sec, we might just go together as a group because there's a lot of people that aren't here. That's the majority of the back ends that aren't up.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think you should like move forward that way. Like when I do get like stuff like get caught up, I could like look back at like the YouTube channel, or I could just message you on Slack. You know, anytime.
Yeah,
So,
my plan made more sense when I thought that these folks were going to be here tonight. It's not making much sense because I will have nobody to guide forward. I'm I'm trying to think of a workaround right now for you, Terry, um, to get you unblocked. Like, I wonder if I can add you to my account and just get you to like add you as a user off of my account. Let's see here. Team. Invite someone to join you. Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna invite you. Send me your email. Just kidding. I know exactly where your email is. So check your email here in a second. Yeah, check your email. You should have gotten an invitation to my flight, Kevin.
Yep, I got it.
Cool. Log in with that, and then try to do a fly launch, and make sure I guess when you log in using the invitation that I sent you, I guess that's going to be the account that Fly uses. If it does anything weird though, and tries to pick your other personal Fly, let me know and we'll figure that out. But see if you can do a Fly launch. Yeah, let's press forward. I will go ahead and share my screen and let's dig into setting up the front end. Okay, so open up Netlify. And when you open up Netlify and log in and go to your dashboard, you should see the app that you created. Should be looking at a page kind of like this. It shows sites, and then you should have a thing somewhere in the center. Is everybody seeing their what you got, Terry?
It's asking me what I like to copy its configuration to the new app. Do I hit yes or no? Okay?
Just hit yes. If that doesn't work and it's trying to copy the configuration from the old one, like it's trying to link to your old account, then maybe we'll have to redo that step. But for now, try to see if just copy configuration will work.
And it's asking me back already says continue launching a new app.
Yes, please. Backend already exists, makes me think that it's looking at your personal account right now. And we're about to hit the same error.
Yeah, it's in the same error.
Let's stop for a second. Let me see if I can get you. Can you share your screen and show me where you're at? I think we need to do like a fly off login and try to see if we can get you to log in.
See my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Organization, yeah, that's that organization is still set to you. So rm that fly dot toml.
RM.
Yep. So just delete rm space fly dot toml. Toml, TOML. It's that.
Geo.
ML. Yep. All right. Do a fly off login real quick. Well, let's just make sure that
Oh.
fly off AUTH. Login, space login. Yep. Yep. Okay. Continue. Okay, cool. All right, let's go back to the to the terminal and do another fly launch. Yeah, so try fly launch. Hopefully it lets you pick. App already exists. You can deploy with fly deploy. Continue launching a new app. Yes. This organization. So we need to switch what the organization is. Fly. Let's see. Oh, okay. Control C here. Just get out of this. Okay, do fly launch and then dash O. And then the organization name you're gonna use. Let's see. One second. Get this for you in 1 minute. Get the open Indians code. Let's see. Okay. Organization is called Nathan Evans. So do open up a quotation mark and type in Nathan Evans with caps. So capitalize the Nathan and then capitalize the N and leave everything else just like a normal name. So Nathan space Evans, Evans, and close quotation. Try that. Yes. Hey, there we go. Cool. Do you want to tweak? No. N. Yes. Cool. Well, this is a new one for me. So going forward, if I ever have any problems with Fly, this is going to be the game plan. So thanks for helping me figure this out. Cool. I'm going to leave you to it. This is going to deploy your backend. You're going to get a Postgres. Uh, I'll work with you outside of class or maybe during break or something to get Beekeeper set up so you can log into your database and seed it because you're going to need to probably shove some stuff into your database to make things work. But you're caught up after this. Oh, be sure to copy down that connection string that just printed out on the screen. That thing, the connection string. Yes, copy that and put it in a safe place somewhere. We're going to need that later to connect to Beekeeper. Okay. All right. Let's do some flies, or sorry, some Netlify stuff. So was everybody able to find their fly or Netlify website? Okay, Joe, Tiffany, were you able to find yours? No? Let me stop sharing. You can show me what you see. Cool. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, this is what it should look like. Back over here, you're looking at hack up state. Great. So this is deploys from Tiffany's capstone dash front end. This looks great.
I don't see anything. You say my device fail in here. I don't find any of my website conservation here.
So you set this up to deploy from GitHub. Go up to click on this, and let's see if you've got some other sites in there from when you deployed last night. That one, yes, that's the one we want to use.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, so it looks like we've got, and then Terry, have you been able to deploy your front end with Netlify CLI? No? Okay, I'm gonna move forward, but I'm gonna get you to jump to where your capstone front end code is, whatever folder you're doing your capstone front end code. And I want you to run this command that I just pasted in chat, followed by that, followed by that, run that. Hey, Shadia. Cool. Okay, let's talk about let's talk about the front end. So once you've selected your website and you're looking at it here, go and click on domain management. We're gonna set up a domain to work with our Netlify. I'm gonna click this add a domain button. So under my site, domain management, add a domain. And I'm gonna enter that domain that we bought from Namecheap. Once you go through this, it's gonna say something about how it's already registered. That's okay. Click add domain. So again, that flow is domain management, add a domain, enter the domain that you have from Namecheap. We'll go back and work on the Namecheap side here in a minute. Shadia, yesterday, were you able to do a Netlify deploy for your front end code? Did you log into Netlify?
Yeah, I did both. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I did both, but when like my folder or whatever
Mhm.
vanished, they both, I tried to click the links that I put in here and they weren't working, so I deleted them. So I'm gonna have to probably do both the fly and the Netlify all over again.
No worries, we could do that. What I want you to do is I want you to log into Netlify and let's see if we can get the domain set up.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we'll fix the stuff on your computer later to map
Okay.
it and link it up.
Oh, I had a question though. If I saved my that little
Connection string?
yeah, that little ID thing, is that for Fly?
That is for Fly, yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
So Shadia, go to Netlify and find the site that we deployed yesterday, even though it's not on your machine, find it on Netlify.
Okay, I got it.
Click into it, and then
Mhm.
do you see domain management over on the left?
Yes.
Click on that.
Mhm.
Hit add domain.
Yep.
Type in that domain that you're going to use for your capstone, the one that you bought on Namecheap,
Okay.
and then hit add. It's going to say something like it's already registered.
Okay, just put
Add
add.
anyways. Yep, add
Okay.
anyways. Cool. You're caught up with us.
Got it.
Follow along, because we could set up Netlify to talk to Namecheap, and then we'll figure out the stuff on your machine later, and everything will
Okay.
be
Okay.
happy.
Yep.
Terry?
It's giving me a prompt. This folder isn't linked to a site. What would you like to do? Create
Great.
create? Okay.
Yep. After you get through the create, it's gonna go for a little while. After you go through the create and ask you what folder you want to use to publish, or what your publish directory is, enter in build. You'll know what I'm talking about when you get to it. Okay. Let's link up the Namecheap stuff now. So if you're sitting on the screen on Netlify where you've added the domain and it says awaiting external DNS, we can, it looks like we can do it this way. Let's see really quick. Yeah, okay. So let's go back. There's two ways that you could do it with Netlify, and I think the easiest way is going to be to follow the prompts here. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So from this page where you've got production domains and this error message saying awaiting external DNS, click on it, and it shows a bunch of stuff things that you can do. Ignore all of that and go down to the bottom where it says set up Netlify DNS for, and then your domain name. Click on that. So again, from that screen where we added the domain to our site, click on these error messages for awaiting external DNS, scroll to the bottom and hit that setup Netlify DNS. And now we should be dropped into this wizard. Let me know if you're having any problems getting to this. So we'll start.
Can you repeat those steps?
Yep.
Sorry.
So starting from the very, very beginning, get to your site somehow, and then we're trying to get over to that domain management tab over on the left.
Yep.
And then where it says awaiting external DNS, these warning messages, click on those links. Scroll to the very, very bottom where it says set up Netlify DNS, click on that. And now it's going to guide us through some steps. So start punching buttons. So we'll hit verify. Add domain. When it says no DNS records set, ignore that, just hit continue. What you want to see is this list of domain name servers. This is the stuff you want to see here. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to be seeing the same domain name servers. I think these are all just Netlify's generic name servers. So if you see something like what's on my screen, you're in the right spot. If you don't see this, let me know. Because the next part's not going to work unless you're here.
I got slightly different stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's not exactly the same name servers.
Yeah, I got PO2.
Oh, okay. Close enough. All right, let's pop up a Namecheap. Let's go and wire up Namecheap to talk to these domain servers. That's going to be what takes the Namecheap, which remember they manage your domain, It's going to take the Namecheap domain and reroute it to Netlify. So this is the glue that binds these two things together. So let's go log into Namecheap.
It's PO6, okay? I got PO6.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what exactly the name servers are going to be. So head over to Namecheap and log in. While we're here, you can look at all of my failed projects that I've tried to start in the past, all the domains that I've bought and not used. I need to do
Wizard
something with
prices
these.
for cards.
Wizard prices is, yeah, it's supposed to be a way for you to snipe eBay buy it now listings. Like I had a little robot that would sit there and like let you like set alarms for things that would pop up on eBay. That was failed.
Does eBay not have native functionality for that?
No,
Like a
they
watch list
don't.
item thing?
They have watch lists, and so you can set up like an email alert every day, but that's as good as it gets. And I think they do that intentionally. They don't have that tooling intentionally because they want you to be on the app and just like constantly like mindlessly scrolling through things. Okay. Once you're logged into Namecheap, hit manage on the domain. We need to get to the control panel like we did back in week 6. We need to get to that control panel for our domain. The difference with this as opposed to what we did back in week 6 is, remember week 6, we set up DNS records. So we let Namecheap host the DNS. We let them handle all of our A records, CNAME records, alias records that, and we went over to advanced DNS and we configured it all through Namecheap. We're gonna delegate DNS to Netlify. And the way that we're going to do that is on the very front page here, we're going to switch off of basic DNS to custom DNS. And it's going to have some boxes for you to put in name servers. That's what we're going to plug in from the Netlify side. So grab all 4 things. Really 2 of these will do the trick, but I'm going to just add all 4 for good measure. Add them in, hit that green checkbox, and then you have successfully linked your domain to your Netlify deploy. Let me know if you have any problems getting that wired up.
Do I need to bother going into advanced DNS to delete A and C name?
No, you don't. Feel free to delete them if you'd like, but at this point, by putting this in, we're delegating DNS completely to Netlify, so those records won't be respected.
Okay, can you repeat one time?
Yeah, so over here, are you on this management page for your domain and Namecheap? Sorry, you're muted. Remember back when headphones used to be wired and you didn't have to do the Bluetooth stuff? It was like so long ago. You're muted, Tiffany.
Okay, repeat one more time.
Yeah, are you on the domain management page here?
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry,
Can you hear me? Can you hear
hello.
me? Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test,
Right.
test, test, test.
Weird.
For other folks that got that set up, this is the end state that you want to have over on the Netlify side, that warning message that said external DNS not recognized. If you have got the green check marks with Netlify DNS, you are good to go. Also, at this point, if you go to the domain, it should take you to your front end capstone code. Mine just says loading because we got problems trying to talk to the back end. We'll jump into that here in a second. Tiffany, does your sound work? Can you hear me, Tiffany? Shadia, were you able to get the green check marks?
On on Namecheap?
On the Netlify side, after you enter in those name servers and hit the green check mark, when you go back to Netlify, does it have?
Oh, let me go back.
Alternatively, we can just check your, what was the domain that you ended up picking for your capstone?
I think I got, wait, it's loading. I got one. I have one. Well, it's still awaiting. Is it not? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I have one.
Okay. What was the domain that you ended up picking?
It's a Shadia Peterson. I need to shut up.
.com?
Yes.
Hey, nice.
Oh, it works.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Just be aware that that TLS certificate is going to take a second. So like when I went and visited your website, it warned me about setting up the SSL certificate. Joe, did you hit the same thing when you visited yours? Did it give you a warning about the SSL certificate?
I got an initial error saying it couldn't be reached, and then I got an error saying it's not private.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine says that it's not private now. It didn't say that before. Before it didn't even pop up.
So try this. From the Netlify side, you can kind of kick it in the pants. Back on that screen where it has the Netlify DNS stuff that we were looking at before. So on this screen from domain management, down at the bottom, you can retry the DNS verification. And that should kick off the process for it to generate that certificate, and it will get rid of those
Oh.
warnings.
Was I supposed to hit verify initially?
No,
Yeah, mine
you
wasn't
can
verified.
you can not do this, and Netlify will eventually figure it out. That's what I mean by kicking it in the pants. It will eventually do it, but this will speed it up.
I see mine.
Yeah, I kicked it, and now it's not giving me warnings. So it will eventually do it. Just takes a minute. Let's pause for a second. Tiffany, can you hear me? Were you able to figure out how to set the name servers over on the Namecheap side?
Almost.
Do you want some help? Do you want to share your screen and we can figure it out together real quick?
I just need to find out where's my Netflix website right now. Everything kind of crashed in a minute. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay. I'll come back to you here in a second. Terry,
Sure.
how's it going with you?
I'm, so I'm able to like see my front end. It just look like a empty thing. I mean, it has a background and stuff, but it's just like everything
Do you
else
have a
looks.
front end link for us?
Yeah,
Share with the class. We want to see.
I mean, not that much to see. Nothing but a blank, empty thing.
Nice. So when you did Netlify deploy, also do a it'll give you a better URL, and also do this going forward. Netlify deploy -- prod. I don't know why they make you do it in a separate step, but use that going forward for your front end deploys, and it
Mhm.
will generate a nice URL for you. Not like any of this matters. Here in a second, we're going to get you set up with Namecheap, and you won't need to use this URL anymore, but it's handy to have. Okay. And then Terry, for setting up the front end to talk to Netlify, setting up Namecheap to talk to Netlify. So your nice domain name that you bought, getting that wired up to Netlify. We just went through that. Did you happen to catch any of those steps?
No, not really. I was just trying to figure out all this stuff over here.
No worries. Can you sign into Namecheap and go to the management panel for your domain, and we'll get it wired up real quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing. And then while we're getting ready to go to the next thing, Shadia, where your front end code is that you've moved stuff around. I know you got your folders figured out now, and we still need to do the back end and the front end deployment. For your front end, at least, go to where your front end code is and do that Netlify deploy -- prod, and let's see if we can get you to deploy. When you run that Netlify deploy command, remember how it asks you at the beginning, do you want to create a new site or link in existing? This time we want to pick link in existing because you've got that that one site on Netlify hooked up with your domain. We want to figure out how to get your code to link up to that. So be careful when you hit Netlify deploy for the first time, and make sure that you link it to that.
So am I just doing Netlify deploy first and then the -- whatever
Just do -- prod from the
dash
get-go.
dash?
That's fine.
And then it says publish directory. Do I put build again?
Put in build. Yep. Always build. Now, something I want to point out that you could do, that prompt gets a little annoying. So instead of having to type in build every time you do a Netlify deploy, one thing you can do is open up VS Code for your front end and create a new file. This is completely optional. It's just if you're like me and you're tired of always answering build, build, build. One thing that you can do is you can create a netlify.toml. And you can set this. So create a netlify.toml and put this in it. and it won't prompt you to answer that question anymore. But if you're interested in doing that, check out the documentation. It will save you having to enter that in, but it's completely optional. Okay,
Okay, I got the front end link.
excellent. And now when I go to visit your domain, it looks like your deploy, it looks better than the one that you did a second ago. I think there's more there.
Yeah, it's still
Nice.
broke. I still have to fix it all because there's more stuff that's supposed to be on the screen, but
Sure. Well,
yeah.
we got your front end fixed, so now all
Yeah.
we have to do is worry about the back end. And I know there's some other folks that need to do some work on the back end. So this is looking really, really good. Nice job. Okay. Let's see what Tiffany, were you able to get all the stuff figured out? Get the domain linked in?
I'm not really sure after we add the service name, so what I should do next.
Do you want to share your screen and see if we can get it figured out?
Sure.
Nice. Hit the green check mark there. Next to the red X, it's scroll up just a little bit. It's right there. Oops. Scroll a little bit further down where you entered in the name servers a second ago. Keep scrolling down. All right, stop.
Oh, here?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
You are done.
Okay.
That's all
Thank
we
you.
needed to do to get the front end linked. Nice job.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, now we get to focus on code. Terry, before we jump to the code, did you get the Namecheap name servers entered in?
No, I had to reset my password for Natecheap because I forgot my password. I'm on
Okay.
it now.
Okay. We'll just hold for a sec, and then once you log in, we'll get your name servers straightened up, and then we'll all move on to the next thing.
Okay, so where did I go again on Namecheap? Because I'm already logged in.
Yeah, share screen. We're going to the management panel for your domain. Yep, so hit manage there next to the domain, next to expiration. Perfect. Scroll down, switch name servers where it says basic DNS. Switch center of your screen there where it says name servers, Namecheap, basic DNS. This thing right here. Switch that to custom. And then those boxes, go back to Netlify. Got your window for Netlify open up somewhere. Netlify.com. Netlify. Missing an I and Netlify. Netlify.
Oh,
Netlify. It's like electrify, but Netlify.
oh. Yeah, I'm not really good when it comes to spelling.
It's okay. Netlify. There you go. You got an extra L. Netlify.
Oh, right here.
No. Netlify. It's like if I just say it again, it'll help with the spelling. Netlify. There you go. .com. Cool. Log in. Yep. All right, and then scroll down. Let's see, deploys from created 23 minutes ago. So the Rococo Mooncake, that one. Yep. Nice. So have you done a Netlify deploy yet on your front end? We just did, right? Yeah, we just did. You pasted the link into chat.
Oh.
So the thing that we need to do is a Netlify deploy -- prod. So pull open a terminal where you were doing front end code. Yeah. Go ahead and kick that prod off. Just be aware that the command you've got down there, put an extra dash there. So deploy -- prod. Cool. Enter. Yep. It's going to ask you what build directory you want, or what publish directory you want. It's always build. Nice. Okay. Now if we go back to Netlify, we're probably all good. Click on domain management over there on the left. Is this
Alright.
thing? Yeah. Add a domain. Type in your domain that we're using for the capstone, the one that you have over on Namecheap, whatever that thing's called. If you remember what it is. .com. Add domain. All right, click on these error messages awaiting external DNS. Scroll down to the very, very bottom where it says set up with DNS. Click on that. Verify. We're going to press a bunch of buttons here. Keep going, add domain. Continue. Okay, now we're going to take these. So go ahead and copy the first one. It looks like it's PO4. Yep, so grab that. Go back to Namecheap. Yep, custom. Paste that in that box. And then it was the same thing, paste it again in the next box, just change DNS1 to DNS2. That's just 2, 3, and 4. Green check mark. You're all set. Front end is now linked. So when users visit your domain, it's going to take them to your Netlify front end deploy. Nice job. We're all synced up. Yeah. We're going to skip the backend setup. So I want to talk about this for a second, and then we're going to promptly skip over it. You can set up your website. Let me show you what I mean by this first. So nathansfun.com. If I go to my domain, notice how it starts loading my front end, right? So when I visit my domain, it takes me to my front end code. We can set it up in such a way that we attach a subdomain to our domain called API. Now it doesn't exist right now because we haven't set it up, but we could set it up in such a way that API dot and then your domain points to your backend. We're gonna probably skip it for now just because of time, but if you're interested in learning how to do this, it's on the slides, and it's kind of a cool way of setting it up because it means that your front end code just makes requests to your same domain, and we'll talk about that here right now because we're not going to set up this API subdomain to reroute to your backend code. We're going to just make calls directly to your Fly app. And what I mean by that is when we visit our front end right now, I'm going to pick on you for now, Shadia. When we visit our front end, I'm going to interact with Shadia's capstone. I'm going to make something. Hi, I'm a new parent, and this is all about my adventures. And I'm going to hit post. Nothing happens. Now, this isn't a failing of Shadia. This is a failing of mine, because up to this point, I haven't told you how to link your front end with your back end. What does that mean? Well, if we open up our network inspector, I'm using Firefox. I know y'all are probably using Chrome, but it's the same thing. If I open up my network inspector and I look at what the browser is doing when I hit this, notice what's happening over in my network inspector, and I'll blow this up so you can get a better view. It's failing. Why is it failing? Why is our capstone failing? Why is our deploy-
Localhost, wrong endpoint.
Wrong endpoint, exactly, yep. So our websites right now, the way that they're configured, they're wired to talk to our Mac because we've been doing all our development on our Mac. When we do our local development, we've said, as we develop our React app, every time we make a post request, every time we interact with it, make a call to the server that's also sitting on our Mac. That doesn't work, right? Because our MacBooks are not reachable by our deployed code. So we need to teach our front end code how to talk to the back end, how to talk to our deployed back end over on Fly. So we got some code to write. Yeah, what's up, Joe?
Can we put a similar if statement to check if we're in production or development and use a different variable?
Absolutely. I like where you're going. Yeah, so there's a couple of options. Let's look at the terrible option first. Go ahead and open up your code for your front end because your code's going to be different than mine. I'm going to go and open up my capstone front end code. And I'm going to stop picking on Shadia and we're going to start picking on my capstone here. Okay, so mine has the same exact problem. When I load it, it tries to fetch posts. Well, it's trying to talk on localhost 3001. That's a problem. So let's go and figure out where we're making the calls to localhost 3001. This is going to be different for everybody. So so follow along with me and we'll figure out how to fix this for everybody's code. The easiest way to find where we make these calls is to just do a search. So you can hit that search button or hit Command Shift F to open up your search box and just try to find code for localhost 3001. Terry.
I'm not sure if my website is like working.
Let's see. That's your portfolio. What was your domain again? UKM?
Yeah. umkn.com.
This looks like umkn.com. Yeah, this isn't right. This is like a parking page. What is that? UMKN. Let me stop for a second. Show me your name cheap again real quick.
Yep.
This might be one of those things where a bunch of us have gotten lucky with changing DNS and it you edited wanyajones.com.
Oh.
That would do it. You can, yeah, go back to basic DNS and that will, and that will put the DNS records you had before that we set up with GitHub Pages. That will put those back into effect. Go to dashboard, click on the other one, view all domains down at the bottom. If you bought. Oh, did you not buy the other domain?
Oh no.
Okay. Do you want to buy another domain or do you want to just use this one?
I'm not sure. uh shit. I think I might get it. I think I might get another one because I do want people to like look at my portfolio because I think this was my portfolio if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. We wired it up to your GitHub portfolio. Well, if you do decide to get another one, go ahead and buy it and then follow the same steps. So follow the same steps, make sure that the name server stuff is linked up and you should be good to go.
Okay.
Technically, you don't need to have all that figured out though to follow along with us. You can continue to use that URL that is provided to you when you do the netlify deploy. You know how it spits out that .netlify.app deploy? .netlify.app link. Yeah, you can use that to follow along with us. Cool. All right, so we need to update our code to not talk to localhost. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at, I'm gonna try to find where I'm making calls to localhost 3001. And here in my code, I do it all over the place. So I do it in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files. Is anybody else in the same boat as me? Do you have a bunch of calls to your backend? Is it as bad as mine? Are y'all averaging six-ish calls? That's a lot of places to update. 9, okay. Shadi, how many do you have? Just the 1? 2? Okay. So we have a couple options here. Let's start with the really, really bad option. The really, really bad option here is we can go one by one and change this, right? And what I would change mine to is the backend link for my Fly app. So if you don't remember what yours is, it's back here in the spreadsheet. Alternatively, you can find it on the Fly website by going to, let's see, by going to fly.io, logging in, clicking on your app, and then it should say right there what your host name is. That's the link to your backend. So we could do this. We could directly put this in. That's one thing that we could do. Joe, I think you already kind of pointed out, we're alluding to this being a bad idea. Do others have thoughts on potential solutions here instead of going and changing this everywhere? Also, this is wrong because I have HTTPS repeated twice. What happens if we go, well, okay, so let's say we take this approach. What happens if I go and replace all 6 instances, and Joe goes and replaces 9 and Tiffany replaces 6 instances of localhost 3001 with this backend link? What does that mean? What's the downside here?
Be able to work in dev.
Yeah, it won't work in dev. When we run this on our local machine, well, technically it will work because we'll be talking to our deployed backend as we're
Not ideal.
developing on our. Yeah, exactly. It'll be confusing, right? Because we'll be expecting to develop on our local database, local backend, local front end, but instead we'll have muddied the water. It will be deployed Postgres, deployed backend, and local front end. It'll be a little confusing. It's nicer if we when we deploy our deployed front end talks to the deployed backend with the deployed Postgres, and when we, it's nice to keep those things the same. Are there situations where it's nice to also muddy the water? And yeah, there's situations. For example, professionally, you might just not want to set up a backend. Maybe you just want to hack on some front end code and not worry about launching Postgres and installing Node. And maybe you're just a front end developer. Maybe you don't write backend code. Yeah, the situations like that, maybe you do want to do something like this. But it's confusing, and it's easier if we don't hard code our front end deploy, or sorry, our back end URL here. So what options do we have? Joe mentioned the if statement, and let's talk through what that might look like. How can we? So let's break it down. Let's start doing some pseudocode before we write any actual code. There's two modes, right? The first one is we're local, and if we're local, we want to be pointing to localhost 3001, right? And then there's a second mode where we're deployed, in which case we want to be talking to this deployed URL. Is there an M variable for prod versus dev? There is. The front end is a little tricky with environment variables because we need some additional tooling to support environment variables on the front end. JavaScript doesn't normally have access to an environment to read variables from, but you could do it. There's a way to set it up so that when you're building your application, you embed an environment variable in the code, and then you can read it out and use that as a trigger for something like you're talking about. Alternatively, what else changes when we're deployed? What else could we use to figure out from JavaScript whether we're running locally versus deployed? We did this back in week 6. There's a little
Besides the
trick.
statement, you mean?
There's a little trick called window.location. Window is a variable. It's similar to document, right? Document is a special variable available to you in JavaScript, just like console that you do all your logging with is a special object that you have access to in JavaScript. Window has what's called a location. And more specifically, it has a property called href. So window.location.href. Whenever you call that, it tells you what the URL is currently in the browser. You can evaluate this from JavaScript to find out where your JavaScript code is running. So if I go to, let's switch over to localhost 3000, and I open this up and I do window.location.href. Here it prints out localhost 3000 because my URL in the browser is localhost 3000. So we can use window.location.href. We can use this as a test to find out where our JavaScript code is running. So what does that mean? That means if we see that localhost is in the URL, we probably want to talk to our local backend. If we see that our domain name is in the URL, we probably want to talk to our deployed backend. Does that make sense? How do we code this?
Would it be a better idea to put it in app.js and pass the variables down as params through the different components?
We
So you're not like
can.
copying everything.
Yeah, we can. Let's figure out let's figure out the code to determine which of the two things we're going to use, and then we'll work backwards to find where this code should live. But that's a good point. It could be a React prop. So we need to do one thing based on a certain condition and another thing based on another condition. That should scream if else statement to you, right? We've got some sort of branching logic that we need to write. So what could our conditions be? We know that we are going to do something if one condition is met. We know that we're going to do something else if it's not. So let's do a test on window.location.href. If window.location.href equals what? What should we do?
You set it to check the localhost address.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, right? Because that's going to be the easiest one to test for. So when we're developing locally, we know that we're going to be on port 3000, right? When we do npm start inside of our create React app for the front end, it always starts it up on localhost 3000, right?
I put in the chat to declare a variable, a mutatable variable before the if statement.
Good catch. So we need something like URL. Good catch. Okay. So if our browser is executing our front end, if the browser's loaded our JavaScript and is executing, and we have this in the URL bar, what should URL be? It should be our local backend, right? Otherwise, it'll be our deployed backend. Cool. So now we're going to fill the contents of this URL box with whichever of the two backends we need to talk to. Now we're going to fill that in correctly. How do we update this? We can template a variable in there. We can do string concatenation. We can do URL plus, whatever you want to do. So here's some code for you to reuse. Just note that my URL in that else condition is not going to be the same one as yours. You're going to need to change that to the URL for your fly backend. I personally like the string concatenation when it's really straightforward like this. It's up to you though. Feel free to do the templating if you'd like. Either one of these ways will do the trick. Any questions so far? We can prove that this works, but I can't until we fix the other 6 occurrences here. So we can go and copy and paste this function 6 more times, but that seems not great. I like Joe's idea of potentially using a React prop here. So recall that we can pass props through React components, right? We could do something like this. I'm thinking in TypeScript. I think in JavaScript, it's something more like this. So we can pass a prop into this and we can attach that URL and we can figure out this logic way up in app.js and we can pass it through React props. That's one way of doing this. And it's a viable way of doing this. Alternatively, we can throw this into a function and put it in a library somewhere and just treat it like a regular old function. The reason why I kind of suggest that is because this has nothing to do with React. And for the life cycle of your app, this function, the contents of this isn't going to change, right? Like the user's not going to modify this. It's either you're talking to the deployed or you're not. So React isn't going to need to re-render based on any of this. So feeding it through a React prop to me feels like a little bit of overkill. What we could do is just create a function, just a plain old function and shove it in a folder somewhere. So let's talk about how we could do that. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it something like API.js. And because it's not a React component, it's just going to be a file with some plain JavaScript functions. Because it's just a plain JavaScript file, no React, I'm not going to capitalize it. I'm not going to give it a capital A. So it's just going to be an API.js. It's just going to have stuff that lets me figure out how to talk to my backend API. And I'm going to take this code here, and I'm going to just put it inside of a function. Backend URL.
Oh, can you explain the benefits or pros and cons between using the older style or the different style syntax for creating functions versus arrow functions? It's just
No.
readability.
Because I'm not a front end person. Long ago, this was the only way to write JavaScript functions. There was no fat arrow. And even that I might have wrong. It might have existed back in the day. It's more of a styling thing, like things that come in vogue. This used to be the old school, and this is what I grew up learning how to do. We could easily do this. What does it mean? Functionally, it's the same thing. And when I say that, I mean when JavaScript executes this code, it's executing the exact same thing. So it's entirely up to you. I personally kind of like this slightly better, but it's just a personal preference. Now, there's some things where you have to use the fat arrow. I lied. Pretty much everywhere that you can use the fat arrow, you can also write it in the syntax. Joe, you're asking the wrong person is the short answer. Quick stylistic thing here. We can get rid of this block by just replacing this with a few return statements. Just makes it slightly easier to read. So here's the function that I've got. Now I'm going to need to import this function. I'm going to need to import this function and use it, which just is a lot easier than copying and pasting the contents of this function into the 6 other places that I need it. So now we need to import this backend URL function. We'll figure out the import stuff here in a second, because that's always something that I need to relearn. So now here, whenever I want to make a call to my backend, I just call that function and I paste it in. So to import, I believe I just need to do import backend URL from dot API. I think that's legal. I might be missing like an export in that file. We'll find out here in a second. In fact, I'm going to cheat and see really quick what this is doing. I probably need this. Probably need to export. Oops. API. So I think I need to have this export statement here in order for this to work. So all in all, here's the code for that function inside of API.js. I think to be consistent with how other functions were written, I'm going to switch it to this fat arrow syntax. But either way will work. So now we have a function inside of a library that we could use everywhere in order to get that URL. I'm just going to go and change the other usages. to also call that function. So here, so close. Looks like I also have one more here. It's within the same. Oh, okay. I'm just going to directly call the function here and template it in. And then lastly, I think that'll do it. Anybody having problems getting that, updating their front end code to be able to talk to be able to switch between both backends?
I don't think your ID is gonna work because it's not in a template literal.
Oh, good catch. Thank you. Yeah, and since it's already using templating, I'm gonna stick with the templating convention. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, backend URL.js is here. And I'll paste it one more time in group chat. Also, all of this code is all of this code is available on GitHub. It is inside of the SRC folder, yes. It's inside the SRC folder. I just created a file called api.js and I shoved that code in there. So just like you can create React components, you can also just create plain JavaScript files and put your functions in them and structure your code however you'd like. One thing that I see people doing, and I like this a lot, is, for example, if we look here at create post. So this is code that Max wrote for the blog example. Notice here how we have this await fetch and some form data, and we're making this API call here. One thing that I like a lot is when folks will just create a function that wraps this. So we could take this code and move it into the same API folder. So what was it? This is creating, yeah, this is creating a post. because this is async, because this uses a wait, this function has to be async. One thing that I like to see folks doing though is I like to see them just taking this API data and moving it into helpers like this, because it helps to encapsulate all of the things that you do with your API into a separate layer that can be rewritten later if it needs to. It's nice to have a file like this, like api.js, that just handles talking to the backend, making fetch requests, doing post requests, talking to your backend. This isn't required for your capstone. I just wanted to point out that this is a nice pattern to follow.
Do you need to export that too?
Yes, yep, we would need to export this function. Good call. And since we have two functions here, we can no longer do that. So we would need to export both of them.
Run npm build, is that the command?
Yes. So now that we've updated our code to talk to our backend, let's walk through what it takes to deploy this. I'm going to show you the pitfall that you might run into. If you do netlify deploy --prod, now that we've made the changes to our code, if you just do netlify deploy --prod to update the deployed front end, we go and visit it. Notice how I'm still talking to localhost 3001. And the reason why is because this is still the old code. Like Joe was pointing out, before every deploy for our front end, we have to make sure to do npm run build. This is what takes all of our JavaScript code and compiles it into that build folder. It does not contain a default export. Oh, do I need to have a default?
You should be able to run run it there, or I think you can even do export default and just put both functions there.
Export
separated,
default.
I think, in a
I think it's going to get upset because you can only export one thing as default, is my guess. But I might be, I'm not the JavaScript expert here. URL is not defined. Oh, where did I mess it up? API. Oh, bad code. Sorry, folks. Here's the updated code. Try that again. Okay. So whenever you make changes to your front end code, don't forget before you deploy to npm run build, and then you can follow through with the deploy --prod. All right, that is how you get your front end talk, your deployed front end to talk to your deployed back end. I imagine that there's stuff that we still need to fix, and there's still code that needs to be written. But I want to go ahead and take a quick break. We will be back at 7:32.
How long do we usually need to wait until the update goes through?
npm run build, netlify deploy.
And then it should be there?
Did you netlify deploy --prod?
Yes. I got finished uploading blobs to deploy store, no cache functions were found, finished hashing, CDN requesting 5 files, finished uploading 5 assets, deploys live. And then I got build logs, function logs, you need deploy URL and website URL back.
Let's see. So I'm able to pull your stuff up, hit login. it's making requests to your backend on my machine.
No, so maybe some issue with the backend.
It's making requests to your Capstone backend Little Water 8484.
Are you in the, is that in the network tab?
Yeah.
Do you see anything in dashboard? On like the home screen, or is it saying no cases available?
Yes, it's saying no cases available.
Hmm.
And that's because did you upload
I've got
rows to
seed
your
data.
you do? Oh. Mhm. It's saying 404 here, and I wonder if it's because there's an extra slash there that we need to
Oh, you know, yeah,
like if we just go to cases, yeah, I think it's the slash is what you're fighting against.
Yes, because that ends with a slash. So I can just take the dev out and leave the slash there, right? For
It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to do it.
there we go.
Yeah. Nice. So very white.
Yes. That's the beauty of I tried to keep some of the nostalgia of really old EMRs by making it look terrible in some areas.
Hey, the filter
Felt like that
works.
looked familiar.
I used to use my very first job out of college was scraping out of old EMR that was console based called Meditech.
Where was
Yeah,
that based?
Meditech. I don't know. It was used at Arkansas Children's Hospital. I don't know if they're still around. If you Google it, it was a thing, but it was like console based. It was like DOS console based, and so everything was like printed out, inside of a terminal. And that's how you interacted with Meditech. It was, I think it's still a
That's
thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Epic is just what St. Joe's uses is still based off of. I don't remember what the language is, but it's like something from like the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, Epic is taken over, right? Like they are the Titan now for EMR. I mean, it's good. I don't personally think that competition within something like that is helpful to anybody. So, but talk about. I would not want to be a software developer at EMR. I mean, that would be.
Yeah, they don't tend to go for a whole lot of at least directly that I'm aware of for smaller things. Like this is my capstones for a early intervention.
Let's put the recording back on. We've got about 30 minutes left. We need to make a couple of choices here. So we talked about how to get the front end to talk to the back end. I want to do some troubleshooting with y'all to make sure that we have capstones working from back end to front end. Not that the code itself is working necessarily, but that we at least are able to deploy both the back end and the front end. And we can spend the next 30 minutes working through that. I don't really have much else. I trimmed some stuff out for time, specifically automating the deploys. I don't think we're going to get to that this time. And I don't think we need to talk about React Router necessarily. So what I want to do is open this up to getting capstones deployed and working as best as we can for the folks that are here. So Joe, I know you have working stuff, so I know you're good to go. I'm gonna make a column here. Working mount and back and communication. Kind of the three things that we need. So I know Joe is working, Mo's not here, Austin's not here. Desiree was here at the beginning of class and then don't believe that she came. No, you are here. Desiree, are you here? Hi. Can I talk to you?
You really want to?
Yes, I do. How is your front end and back end going?
I think it's all working. I don't have anything reaching into the back end yet, so I can't test that, but
Okay.
if it doesn't end up working.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Okay. So we're not making any network calls yet.
Yeah.
Before I stop picking on you, I just want to see that the back end is responding. Were you able to get the back end up and
I don't know why it's not connecting.
can we take a quick look?
Yeah.
Because then after that, I think you're good to go to keep developing and working on your capstone. Also, can you talk about what your capstone is? I'm really curious what.
It's a tracker for a video game that I
I know what
play.
Stardew Value is. Yeah, what does it do?
Yeah. So it's just something to help keep track of the community center. And then once I get that, I might add more stuff to it.
Oh, cool. So like it in terms of helping you figure out what still is left in the game for
Yeah.
finishing. Oh, cool. Okay, so the backend. Let's look at, so you've got a terminal open right now and you're proxying, you've got a pinhole opened up so you can log into the database. That's awesome. Give me another, well, let's just go look at the logs on Fly. So open up a browser and take me to Fly. You're here, great. Take me to live logs over on the left. Nice, all right. Let's kick off a deploy, keep this window open. Let's kick off a deploy and get it to spit out some new logs.
Is that right?
That's it. That's exactly it. Yep.
I want to make sure I'm typing in the right things.
And then you've got the port set up on line 12. So it's going to map to the correct port, which means we should be getting, we should be able to talk to it. Take me to index.js. Let's look at some code for a second. Okay, so you've got a slash. So if we hit this, it should respond with API online. Great. Yeah, okay, that all makes sense. Cool. Actually, one last thing. Your database communication. Show me db.js. Scroll up. Great. So your change undefined to undefined.
No, I don't want it to be like that.
Nice. I maybe just stop the deploy down below and let's re-kick it off, and that way we'll know if our fixes. One other thought here. Const DB. So we're initializing DB within a scope there on 13 and on 9. So we've got DB declared in 3 spots. See on line 3,
Mm-hmm.
9, and 13, we're declaring a new variable called DB. It's going to get mad at you because you're setting it up as const, meaning that you're not going to ever let the DB variable change once you've initialized it. So what I'm thinking is that up there on line 3, instead of setting it equal to localhost 5432, why not just do a let DB? And let's not set anything to it. Just let DB colon, and we'll make an empty box. Cool. And then on line 9, instead of const DBing, just set DB equal to that new sequelize. Yep. Yep, exactly. Same thing on 13. So we start off with an empty box, and then based on our if logic, we'll put the right thing into it. All right, let's kick it. Community tracker. I haven't played that game in a while. The community tracker is like all of your interactions with folks and the side quests play a part in what stuff gets unblocked inside the community center, right?
Kind of. As you complete stuff in the community center, it increases your friendship with villagers.
Oh, it's the other way around. Okay, I haven't played it in a little bit. I played it a lot when it first came out, and then I promptly shelved it, like so many other
There's been
games.
really big updates since then, so
They have updated it?
there was one actually this year.
Oh, cool. There's the person that makes that game has made another one that I wanted to play. I forget that. It's on my Steam wish list. I see it every once in a while. I haven't played.
Haunted Chocolatier.
No, it's like the futuristic, or it's like a city. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, now you got me curious. I didn't know he had another one.
It's Chucklefish, right? Is the name?
No, Concerned Ape.
Concerned Ape is the developer,
Yeah, he did everything.
but Chucklefish is the company, right? I think we're talking about the same person. I think Concerned Ape is the moniker and Chucklefish is the company. It's not Starbound. Is it Starbound? Eastward.
East.
It's
Okay.
published by Chucklefish. Oh, I don't think he wrote it. My bad. Oh, okay. So it deployed. If you go back to Fly, why did we get logs? Capstone backend withered frog. Go to. Oh, we're looking at the DB. That's my fault. Go up to switch the app. So up there at the top, see how we have the dash DB selected? Yeah, click on personal and let's flip it over to the app. There we go. And then live logs for this. API servers online. Let's see if we can hit it. Yep, API online. I could hit it. You could get the link. You put it in that Google Sheet. Alternatively, you can go to overview and find the host name there. It's up to you. That one works too. Yep. Yeah. Click into that. You'll get the save API online.
Ooh, wrong one. I'll fix it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Nope, that went to the wrong place too. I messed it up. I'll figure out what I did.
Updated. Get that shot. Nice. Okay, great. Yeah, you have both of them set up. Let me know if you want help with getting the front end to talk to the back end at some point when you decide what you want that communication to look like. Okay. And actually, before I let you go, Desiree, did you have oh, you did get your domain set up too. Yeah, your domain's talking to your front end. Very nice, cool. All right. Edward's not here. Softy's not here. Tiffany, is everything working how you expect? Let's see. Oh, this looks really nice. Can I share my screen and show off your stuff?
Sure.
This looks really nice. Okay, so if I go in here and open up a network tab and I will start signing in. Does it make a request to do logins?
Not yet. I still need to bring out this aside here.
Login JS. Here's where we do our login form. When I click on the login button down here, we do our submit, and that's supposed to trigger the login form submitted.
Yeah.
Function. Okay, cool. Very cool. The one thing I noticed here is the URLs are still hard coded to localhost 3001. Were you able to get that code snippet from earlier when we were working through those functions?
Yeah, I try to like run npm build around build to
Mhm.
update the code right now.
Were you able to get it to build, or did you get some errors?
I think so. I guess I'll error try to figure it out first.
Share your screen. Let's see if we can debug it as a group.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, sounds good, Shadia. I think you are. I think you are next. No, Terry's next, and then Shadia. This looks great. The line 5, there's a semicolon between backend and withered.
Oh,
Do you see that?
yeah.
No. That semicolon was good. It's in between backend and dash withered. It's right here, and I think that's a typo.
This one.
See, no, see that right there.
Oh,
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so there's your backend URL. Let's go look at login.js really quick and see what login.js is doing. Cool. So you are calling the backend URL function. Remember that backend URL is a function, and so we need to call it with the parentheses. Yep, exactly. Okay, and then up at the top, did you make sure to add an import for backend URL?
yeah.
Excellent. That looks great. Down in the bottom, let's try compiling our code and seeing if we get any errors. So down below, do npm run build. This looks promising. Excellent. Nice. Okay. Go ahead and do your netlify deploy -- prod. And you probably typed it in recently. So if you hit the up arrow a bunch, you might get back to that. There it is. And it's live. Let's see. Hey, on my machine, when I try to log in, it's triggering your login code. So go pop open your front end, tiffanyting.com. Open up your front end in the browser. Nice. Yeah, try logging in. Let's see.
Oh, I
Open
did,
up. Yeah, there you go. And then it's helpful to click on the network tab. Oh, there's your login form submitted. Nice. But over here on the network tab, if we make a successful call, we should see a network request show up. So go ahead and up above, leave this tab open up above, go ahead and click that login button and let's see if it fires a request off to your. There it is. Look, it's making a call. Okay, click on one of those network calls down below for login and let's see if it's perfect. Let's click on the headers tab there. Perfect. Awesome. This looks great. The scroll up just a little bit though. One issue we have right here is the same thing that Joe encountered earlier. Scroll all the way back up. Scroll to the top here. See how we have a double / there?
yeah.
So we need to drop one of the / and we can do that if you go back to your code. We can do it one of a couple of ways, but the easiest way I think is going to be inside of the backend URL. So go to api.js where we define that backend URL function.
You mean the backend code or
Yep,
backend?
in code. Yep, in code. Go to api.js.
Oh, not this.
And chop off that / there, and that will get rid of one of the slashes. Yeah, and then npm run build and fly deploy again. We have to do these 2 steps every time we push to our front end. This is why it's nice to develop on your local machine first and then push your code up. It just takes a little bit of time to run these 2 commands. Okay. Cool. All right, let's see. Let's try to log in. All right, let's click down on that request down below. Same thing, let's make sure we got that URL right. Click on network, hit one of those login requests down below. Just click on one of these 2.
Oops.
And I think, so yeah, this looks
Yeah.
right. It looks right. I think that the back end is the issue now. So now we need to go and figure out what the back end needs to do when you call that login. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, let me know if you need help. Otherwise, it looks like you got front end talking to back end. Now we just need to make the back end respond to these login calls correctly. Looks great.
Sure.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay. I need about 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Sound's not working. One sec. Okay, there we go. How are things going with you, Terry?
Uh, huh. I'm not sure. I think I need to do my back end because I didn't do like the back end stuff. And I got lost when I was adding like code because I didn't know where to put the code on mine.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm a bit far behind, kind of.
No, you're not far behind. Let's meet and figure out how to get the back end and the front end working together. I'm gonna switch over to Shadia and see if I can help with anything. We've got a few more minutes before the end of class. So let's see what you got, Shadia. Where are you at?
Uh, gotta share my screen.
Okay.
So my apps are still in here,
Yep.
but I didn't get my link. I think it was right here. I don't think it works.
Okay, so go back to Fly and take me to the logs. Logs over on the left. Okay, so it's failing to connect to Postgres is the issue here. So let's go over to, does anybody have the code snippet for connecting to the database in db.js? So Shadi, open up that db.js file. Yeah, so right now it's connecting to localhost 5432.
Oh, what the?
We need it to connect to the process.env database URL.
Can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Test, test, test.
I can hear you. Yeah. I can hear
Can you hear me
Nate
now?
and Shadia.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
there we go. I don't know what just happened.
So we need to set up your backend to be able to talk to the Fly Postgres. Here is the code snippet for it. We need something like this. So where you're doing on line 6, where you're doing that const db, we need to replace that with the code that I pasted in the Zoom chat.
Yeah. So you want me to paste it in the parentheses or?
Nuke line 6 completely and replace where it once was with that snippet. Nice. And then like Joe pointed out, down below on line, keep going down, scroll down, line 39, put in a wait on that connect to DB. So right before get rid of, we're not passing a wait in as a parameter. So to chop that out and put a wait at the beginning on line 39. So it should be a wait space connect to DB. Perfect. Let's deploy that. And actually, before we deploy, let's check one other thing. Look at the fly.toml file, the back in VS Code.
Oh,
That thing, yep. Change internal port to 3001, and then go back to index.js. Scroll down to where we start the server up. Keep going down, keep going down. Right in here, right after the 3001,
Mhm.
after the comma, open up a quotation mark after the comma and put quotation mark 0.0.0.0. So 0 period 0 period 0 period. One more 0. All right, and then no, just a 0, no dot. And then
Okay.
after the quotation mark, put a comma. So this is saying listen on port 3001 and bind on the local network interface. Now do it deploy. You should be all set. Apply deploy in the terminal below. Yeah, so when your app starts up, you have the option of binding to nothing, which is binding to localhost. If you don't specify something, by default, you bind to localhost. That's why when you go into the URL and you type localhost 3001, that's what connects you to your computer. Localhost exists within the firewall of your computer. It doesn't exist outside of, for example, people on the same Wi-Fi as you won't be able to reach your service. If you're listening on localhost, which is by default what happens when you do that that server serve. When you bind on localhost, you're just putting it on your machine. It's not reachable anywhere else. We changed that to 0.0.0 because that binds it to your network card, which means that anybody on the Wi-Fi can reach it. And more importantly, Netlify can, or sorry, more importantly, Fly can serve it as well. So 0.0.0.0 means bind to my my actual network card, make it possible for others to app.
Doesn't that cause security issues potentially for reaching your local machine?
It does, yeah. And I'm exposing all of you. I'm when you're running your local app, I'm exposing your local node server for others to be able to hit. That's absolutely true. You can do the same thing here with an environment variable and turn that off if you'd like. So you could try to detect that database URL and use that as a way of finding out if you should bind to 0.0 or not bind to 0.0.0.
So just
That's one
pass
way
an
to turn.
if else
Yeah.
statement to check if we're using localhost or not.
Yep, exactly. Now we can't do like the window.location hack because we're on the back end and there's no browser to look at. But
But we can see if we're hitting anything for that URL though.
exactly, that database URL is a good way of telling whether or not you're running within Fly, and you can use that as your condition of whether to bind. The reason why I took this shortcut though for classes, one, we don't have to write an if-else statement, but also, the security risk of other folks being able to see your Node app is, in my opinion, pretty low. But it's a good thing to point out. Yeah, you should always be aware when you bind to your local network card. You should be aware that yeah, you're putting yourself out there. Okay, Shadi, I like where this is at. It looks like your server's running. You should be able to make calls to it from your front end. Just make sure that your front end code is set up to is using this function. There on line 3, we need to or sorry, yeah, on line 5, we need to update that to yep, exactly. And others have been having problems with that trailing slash there. So maybe chop that off and just do .dev. Yep. And then you'll have the same thing for deploying your front end. Don't forget, whenever you make a change and you're ready to push it to your website, don't forget to do npm run build, netlify deploy prod. You're muted, by the way.
Oh, I wasn't talking. I was
Okay.
trying to figure out. Okay, right here.
Yep, and then in here, we'll need to update these calls. So line 15 and line 25, instead of localhost 3001, we'll want to change that with the result from that function.
Is it was it something like this?
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Yep. So we need to create a variable. So give us some space after line 14. Okay. Make a box and let's store some stuff in it. So let's put a let and then let's make a box called URL. It's probably the easiest thing.
Wait, say that again.
So let's make a box. Let's make a variable called URL. Cool. And then let's fill it with the result of calling that backend URL function. So call backend URL, the function that we wrote and put into that file. Backend URL, yep. And then it's a function. So in order to call it and trigger it, we need to put parentheses there. Nice. So we'll call this function and we'll store the result inside of URL. Now over on line 19, we need to get the URL into that fetch call. You could do URL plus in post. The problem with what you have right now is that it's all within the tilde. So we need to take the URL outside of the tilde and put post, that slash post by itself within. Yep. So another tilde character. You got it mixed with a single quote versus a tilde there on line 18. There you go. Nice. And then you'll rinse and repeat for line 28. You're going to do the same URL stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right. Don't forget though, on line 27, same thing. You're going to need to create a box called URL, and yep, same thing. You'll need that down below as well. And anywhere else that you make calls to the back end. All right, I'm going to leave you to it, Shadia. This is looking good.
I think I broke it though, so we'll see.
Okay. All right.
It
So I got a question
working.
for all of you. We're over time for tonight. We lost a day to open hack, and I'm gonna get a quick thumbs up in chat, thumbs up, thumbs down. Just let me know. We lost a day to open hack. I had to rush through some stuff. We kind of made up for it by slowing down and individually going through people. Do we want to meet again on Monday and continue to work on capstones together? Continue to work on getting our front end and back end deployed. I can talk through helping you with any database issues you might have in Postgres. I can help you with code. I can do a lot of stuff. We can use Monday as a day to work on any loose ends for our deploys, help out with capstones. Alternatively, I can cut you loose and you can get back to working with Max and having Max answer any questions that you might have. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you're ready to work with Max. So you tell me, thumbs up or thumbs down to another class on Monday?
What are we doing? No. Use that paper. Use that paper. Oh.
I got 2 thumbs up. I got 3 thumbs up. Okay, 4 thumbs up. That's critical mass. So I'll be back then on Monday. At the very least, we'll hang out and I can at least judge your capstones harshly and give you cruel and difficult feedback. Yeah, Desiree is excited about me coming in and judging. No, but seriously, on Monday we'll use it to go through capstones. My dream is that for graduation, the tagline I want is, here's my app, here's how cool it is, and you can visit it in your browser. If you don't have that last piece, I mean, that's the wow factor. So I really want to make sure that you guys have stuff deployed. and that you can share it when you get up there for graduation. Okay, cool. Then I'll be back Monday, and we'll use Monday to hang out and work on whatever deploy stuff. That's it for tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great Friday, and I will see you on Monday. I lied. Oh, guys, I lied. I'm traveling Monday. I won't see you Monday. I can't do a class Monday. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be in New York. I'm gonna actually be in New York City, but for something else. So
Wait, I
do you
have a
guys
question.
do you want to have office hours this weekend? Is anybody interested in just doing office hours this weekend? Yeah, okay. Let's do office hours this weekend. I'm sorry, I forgot that I'm not gonna be available next week. I'll post in CIC6 Slack chat, and we'll pick a time to do office hours on. I think Saturday is probably going to be the only day that I can do it. Does that work? Awesome. Well, I'll see you for office hours. If I don't, I'll see you at graduation. Have a good rest of your evening.